Hey guys, Huzz here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to the mini-series, Why Are You This Rank? Or what rank are you and why, basically. So today we're going to be covering Bronze. Episode 1, we were covering Silver, and if you haven't watched that, go watch that one maybe before this one. And I will say some people will not watch this video going, I'm not Bronze, I don't need any of this advice. But I'd say it's just general advice and it may help you. Like in the episode 1 with Silver, there was a comment or a few comments going, I was Platinum and this even helped. So this advice is for everybody. But basically the reason why I'm breaking it down from each rating is how I collected all this data. So I used a website called Qt. Over 600 of you left a response of what rating you were and why. And obviously, I'm just going through each episode, like basically selecting each rank and looking at what the most common things people are talking about. Why are they bronze? Why are they not silver? And obviously, last episode is why they were silver and not gold. So we're going to be going over probably the top 3 things people were talking about in bronze today. Again, we'll most likely do, because this series, if this video gets a decent amount of likes and it gets around 10,000 views, I'll continue doing this series and maybe I'll do an episode 2 of Silver, episode 2 of Bronze, but obviously initially I just want to go through all the ranks. So that will be, you know, Silver was episode 1, then it's Bronze now, next will be Gold, then Platinum, and then Diamond Plus. So you guys can just continue giving feedback if like your rating hasn't been yet, or if your rating has already been, I'll most likely be doing an episode 2 of these ranks anyway. So feel free to keep leaving all that feedback because it does help. So, Bronze. First thing to say with Bronze, and before we get into the feedback, I just want to make people aware of something. And again, some people don't. I remember in the Silver episode, I believe, I was talking about rank distribution, of how Silver is the most popular rank. And somebody in the comments was like, what are you talking about? Bronze is? No, Silver actually is, and Bronze is second to the popularity. What does that mean? Well, that actually means from where you start in rank, on a fresh account, you're given an account around Silver 4 MMR. So that means if you are Bronze, you actually have gone down to where your account actually started. And I think a big point to why people get Bronze, or you know, a decent point, is they simply start ranked too early. So they get level 30 and they just go straight into ranked, or they get level 30, they don't really have a champion pool, they just play random champions, they don't really have runes, lack of understanding, they just do it too quick. And I'd say, I'm not going to say like half of people in Bronze are, but I'd probably say around maybe quarter of the population of Bronze is probably Bronze simply because they went into ranked too quick. So I will say, if you're an unranked player right now, hold off. Make sure you're ready. And they'll be like, how do I know I'm ready? You don't really know. But it's basically, you know, if someone asks you a question, do you think you'll know the answer? Like, if you're, to me, a ranked player should basically know, I'm not going to say everything, but if I say, okay, what's Lux's W? You don't need to know the name, but you should know what it does. It's the shield that goes out and can shield allies. What does Cho'Gath's E does? What does Mundo's Q do? You should have a vague understanding of what every single ability in the game does. And if you don't, I don't think you're ready for ranked. And some people be like, what? Really? You need to know that much? In my opinion, yes. So that's what I'd say you should put as like a guideline. Do you know this stuff? If not, don't play ranked yet. But anyway, let's get into the feedback of what you guys were talking about. And the one that I was seeing a lot in the Bronze feedback was consistency. So lack of consistency. So one game they do really good and the next game they do really bad. How do I get better at that? Because it's, you know, you win one game and you go legendary, but then you go 0-10 the next game. How do you get better at consistency? So the first thing I will say, you can't get annoyed at lack of consistency because everybody will have it. A challenger player has it. You know, go watch any challenger streamer for a day of them streaming, and they'll have a few bad performances. That is, you know, consistency. And I will say, the thing with what is different with a PvP game, player versus player, to other things you can compare it to in life, is say you're a sprinter, you know, a runner in real life. Consistency is more annoying in that because the only thing that's affecting your consistency is yourself. Where in League of Legends, in PvP games, other people are affecting your consistency. So your allies, your teammates, they'll be affecting your consistency. Are they going to be allowing you to play in the style that you want to play in? And secondly, the enemy team will be affecting your consistency. Are they simply better than you? Are they just going to beat you? Are they playing better? That will also affect your consistency. So that's why you can never get too annoyed by it. While I died on Tryndamere. By the way, this is on the off-meta to diamond account that I'm currently leveling for the new series. But what I would say, there are things that you can definitely do to help. So, what are the things to help? First thing is actually have champions that you can kind of call yours, if that makes sense. And this doesn't mean to be a one-trick. This doesn't mean to only play 2 champions, but just to have a group of champions that you know more than most. So for me, if I'm having a rough time, you'll see me kind of fall back onto the Renekton, the Darius, the Anivia, the Karthus, the Lee. Obviously, I've got quite a big amount of these champions, but if you're newer to the game, you don't have to have a big amount. You can have a few, and that can build over time the more you play the game. And basically, consistency can come with how much you know a certain thing. So if you're playing, like for me, if I'm playing Anivia, I don't really need to think about what I'm doing because I know Anivia so well. So I can focus on other aspects of my game, i.e. playing better, and that will help with my consistency because I'm not focused purely on the mechanics of the champion. So that's just number 1 of consistency, is play champions that you know and build those out, learn them more, and you'll probably find your consistency level goes up. Second thing is play style. So your play style will change depending the game itself. So can you play aggressive? Can you play passive? Are you going to feed if you play passive? Every single game will be different, and you will have to adjust your play style, obviously. But every player I will find in League of Legends has a general play style that they kind of fit into. Are they more of an aggressive player on average? Are they more of a passive player on average? And if you kind of find what you kind of fit into, that will help with consistency because you're kind of playing the same way every game. So you kind of just do the same stuff over and over and over again. And guess what? That will help with consistency. So those are like the 2 main ones. Or the third main one is the amount of games you play. So consistency is also, the more you do something, probably the better you'll be doing it. So if you're somebody in bronze that you're like, I get to play 1 game a day, then that's a bit of consistency, but you're not going to have the same probably level of consistency as somebody that plays 3 games a day. Furthermore, if you're somebody that can only play once or twice a week, again, your consistency isn't going to be that high. And I will say, if you're somebody that only can play League of Legends 1 or 2 times a week, I'd probably say ranked probably isn't for you. Because ranked, you do need that level of consistency on average in order to climb. And I don't think playing 1 or 2 times a week will give you that level of consistency you need to have a, consistent climb. Which is completely fine. And again, you can disagree with me. You might be like, no, I'm a ranked player, but I only can play once or twice a week. That's fine too. That's just my general advice. So what I'd say is, if you're somebody that's like, oh, I'm only really playing a couple times a week at the moment, but in those, like, say, 2 days a week that I play a lot of games, what I'd say to you is that's okay, but maybe look to do it differently. Maybe look to spread the amount of games that you play. So instead of playing twice a week, maybe play 5 times a week, but just play less in those 5 days. Spread it out more, and you'll probably find your consistency level also rises. So yeah, that's the 3 points with consistency. Play champions that you know and play them over and over and over again. Again, doesn't have to be just 1 champion, doesn't have to be a couple, can be as many as you want, but just kind of get that champion pool going. Second thing is your play style. You should be kind of having a similar play style every game, relatively. Again, that will change depending the game, like your item build has to change every game, but that does exist. And the third point is the amount of games that you play. So that's 1 point. Consistency. Second point is the one that I didn't really want to talk about, but I will talk about it because in the 180 odd people that gave feedback about bronze, roughly about 30 people briefly spoke about teammates. That they were like, they may have said it in a way that wasn't blaming their teammates, but if they're bringing it up, it's obviously in their mind that they think their teammates are affecting their rank. So we'll talk about teammates very briefly. Are teammates the reason why you're in bronze? No. At all. None whatsoever. Now, the reason why I will say this is some people will flat out disagree with me. Again, there is a reason why I'm high rating, and if the person's disagreeing me is in bronze, there is always a reason for why I get diamond and they get bronze. And again, some people say that's elitist. I can't word it any other way. So what I would say is basically all you have to think about is a couple things. First thing is every single player in League of Legends has the same ranked environment as you. Whatever server you're on, we have the same environment. If you're an EUS player like me, you have the same environment as me. If you're North Americans, same environment. Every single Diamond player, Master player, Challenger player, Platinum player has had to do the climb once. I went from silver. Season 1, I was a trash player that didn't win one game of ranked in Season 1. Season 2, I managed to get silver. Season 3, I got to Diamond 1. You know, like, big jump. It wasn't because my teammates were holding me back. It's because I simply looked to improve about what I was doing, and that's what you have to do. Don't focus on others. Like today, earlier in the episode, earlier in the day, we had a that Leona that obviously was being annoying and toxic and trolly, and people in the comment section was like, "Oh, let us know if she got banned." I'm not going to look that up. I don't care enough. Why? Because I don't care about other players in League. I just care about what I'm doing. That's pretty much it. After the game is finished, I won't give that Leona a second thought. Apart from obviously mentioning it now for the video, but like that's not what you should be looking for. You should be looking about you, and that's pretty much it. And every game, treat it as a new game, and yeah, try to lead by example. It's what I did. It's how I climbed, and think about it as well. Every single high rating player, if ELO hell truly existed and teammates are really going to hold people back, how does it seem that every single time a high rating player does do a Smurf thing, if it's a YouTuber doing a Smurf series or a streamer doing a challenge, how is it that every single time none of these people really get stuck in the low ranks people talk about? The only rank that I've kind of got stuck in the past was like Platinum 1, but then I eventually get to Diamond, right? And that's in the top 1% of the game. I've never got stuck in the Silver MMR, that where the account starts. Not in gold, not in low platinum, because you just climb. If you know what you're doing, you'll climb. It's not the teammates holding you back at all. And I will find this. The people that blame their teammates the most will be people that get stuck more than anybody else. And I've seen it in my own comment section. Huzz, I used to blame my teammates. Now I don't. I climbed. I focused on what I was doing. I climbed. 100% true. 100% true. And there isn't a shadow of doubt in my mind that that is a true statement. So if you are somebody right now who is kind of folding their arms going, no, Huzz is wrong, it is the teammates holding me back, I deserve challenge, or just take a step back and go, that doesn't make sense. Because it doesn't. It really doesn't make sense. If you think your teammates are holding you back, do something different. Change your champion pool. Play a different champion. Do a different role. Maybe change something up. Maybe what you're doing just isn't good for you in order to climb. But then there is another point that I normally don't touch, and YouTubers don't like talking about this point because it is a little bit delicate. There are some people that will always just be bronze. There were some people that will always be silver. There were people like me that maybe I'll always be a diamond player. And you know what? That's okay. That's life. There are some people that are going to be good at English, good at math, good at science. Not everybody's going to be amazing at everything. And maybe League of Legends just isn't your thing to be good at. And if that is the case, just enjoy it. It's an amazing video game that is really fun to play. So sometimes that might be it. Like, everybody's good at different things. I can guarantee people who are in bronze are good at other things. Like, if you go, like, okay, you've got a bronze player here and a challenger player here. Yeah, that challenger player is obviously 1,000 times better than the bronze player in League. But then that bronze player is probably better at something else than the challenger player in a different aspect of life. That's just the way that it is. That's it. So that's the second point, is I just wanted to briefly touch upon the teammates, because, yeah, really, it's not a thing. All right, so let's go into the next topic, which there was a lot about the anxiety stuff, which I will say. And obviously, if you do want to go over the ranked anxiety, I'd recommend watching the silver episode, as we did talk about that a lot. Another thing that we'll just mention briefly is I can't really help you with this, and this is why I'm not really going to go into topics about it, is I find in people in the bronze, we're talking more about their actual hardware, their computer, more than any other rank. So they get like 10 FPS and stuff like that. There has been a correlation in the past, like there has been a graph that has shown people with better computers or better internet generally do get to higher ratings. And that doesn't mean, I want to make this point clear, because somebody will, I can guarantee, think this way. I'm bronze, I buy a £2,000 PC, I'll get challenger. Like, no, that's not how it works. But like, say you're a bronze player and you really can't do anything else, you may get like higher bronze. Like, it might help a little bit. It's not going to change like everything. So yeah, let's just make that point clear. But yeah, if you are serious about computer gaming, and that's the one thing with computer gaming that's different to console gaming. Console gaming, everybody is on the same level, is that you've all got the same machine, right? Pretty much. So you will get the same frames per second. The only thing that changes is your connection, but connections don't really matter that much on console because there's input lag anyway, and turn lag, say in a first-person shooter. In computers, everything's more fast-paced, and it's a little bit less balanced because everybody has different computers. You know, my computer that costs £3,000, I can get this machine, if I really wanted to in League of Legends, it can get over 1,000 FPS in-game. Obviously, I'm never going to do that. I've capped it at 144. But in the games that I play, and I have a solid 144 frames per second, doesn't really move from 144. In the same game, I could be with somebody on 1 FPS or 2 FPS. That could happen. So I will say, if you are serious about computer gaming, it is an investment. It is an expensive investment. And maybe look to buy a new computer. And I know a lot of people are going to, you know, they're young or they just can't. And that's fine. And that just depends your level of, I don't know, I'm not going to say commitment, but like, it just depends your level of gaming. You know, again, if you've got a bad computer and stuff, maybe just ranked isn't ready for you yet. And I will give the same example with me. In Season 1 and Season 2, I was playing with a god-awful laptop. In Season 3, it was when I actually got like relatively my first gaming computer, and League was great. So it just depends what you kind of want from the game and what you want from computer gaming, is what I'd say. And now we're going to go over one more point, because obviously the last two weren't really like crazy big points. Obviously decision making did come up and stuff like that, and you know, lack of confidence and abilities, that's just knowledge, and that comes with consistency of just learning the game before you go into ranked. And if you are something like like this person here, the gnome said, lack of confidence in my abilities, don't use the knowledge I have at my disposal. That's probably somebody that just isn't ready to go in ranked yet. And again, we mentioned in the silver episode is that it's very easy to look at mistakes in videos and commentaries and stuff like that. Like yesterday, the Darius episode, there was a guy going, you know, he's silver and he can point out 1,000 mistakes that I make on my Darius and I'm a diamond player. And I was like, that's a good thing to do. But the difference that you'll find is that you're a silver player for a reason, because you know this stuff, but you simply don't do it in game. There's a big difference between doing it in game and just knowing it and looking at like a video. So really, when you're in game, really try to just be a little bit more analytical, going, why am I doing this? Does this make sense? If you simply do that and you just take a step back, you'll probably find an improvement, to be honest. So another thing that people were talking about a lot, I've mentioned it briefly, but it was when to play certain champions in certain matchups, comps, and all that type of that end of ranked. So do they pick something that goes better to the comp? Is it even good for the comp? They may not know, and stuff like that. So we'll kind of leave this as the final point for bronze players for today. So what champions you should play. So this is going to be a very brief answer to begin with, and I'll expand it. Whenever people say to me, what should I play? Is this good for this situation? I always just go, are you good with that champion? I mentioned this in the silver episode, and we'll talk about something different, but it's that simple. Whenever you're in ranked, literally play what you are good at. Do not kind of, if someone's in, say, your champion select and goes, oh no, you should play this because that's better. Guess what? Like, this is going to be the sad truth. That person is also bronze. They may not know what's good as well. So you as a player should just play whatever you think you're good at. End of. That should be it. And yes, comps and that do exist. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Comps don't really matter until you probably get to diamond, roughly. Like, if you just do well on the champions that you can play and you get fed and you play well consistent, you'll probably find you'll climb a lot better, rather than going, hey guys, we're building a team fight comp and you don't play any team fighters. Let's say you're a 1v1 split pusher player, and it's just like, I don't play any team fighters, and your team's just saying, oh no, pick Vlad. You'll be able to play Vlad, and you've never played Vlad before. Guess what? Don't pick Vlad. Don't pick a champion you don't know how to play. Only pick champs you know how to play, and you'll find you'll have a lot better time. And again, you'll see, like, the problem that I do face with my own personal channel is that I'm not the greatest example. Is I'll play random champions. Like, for example, this Tryndamere game, I went something like 20 kills and 10 deaths. I got very fed. I haven't played Tryndamere in months, maybe even a year, I don't know. But I can do this because of the amount of games that I've played. And obviously my Unranked to Diamond series, we play over 100 games. The off-meta to Diamond series, again, that's going to be something that we play random champions and climb to Diamond. I'm not the best example. So please, when you kind of are thinking about what you're doing, don't go, oh, Huz can do that. I know, and people can go, oh, there's the ego. It's not an ego, but it's like, I've played this game for 8 odd years, 7, 8 odd years. Every single champion relatively has been in my champion pool at one stage of the game-ish. I've played every single champion, put it that way. I can kind of play most things to a decent-ish level. Like, I'd probably say I could play most things to a Diamond 5 level, roughly. Like, if you threw me in a Diamond 5 game, is my point, is that I'd be okay. I wouldn't just feed like crazy. I could hold my own. That's what I'd say, is don't do that. Pick champions that you know how to play and just stick with them for a while. And you'll get better with other champions without even playing them. I just want to also make that point, is that the more you play League over years and years and years, you'll simply get better at whatever champion without even playing it, because you'll be playing against it for years and years and years. You'll understand how that champion works just by playing against it. So that's also a point just to mention. So ignore comps, really. And I know this is weird coming from me, but ignore comps. Ignore what your allies are saying to pick. Simply pick what you are good at. That's it. That's all you should care about in bronze. Like, really, honestly. Like, I don't want to make the rating seem like, well, it is pretty bad. But you can climb with most things in bronze. Like, people have done. People have done series where they literally play completely troll things. And, like, some YouTubers obviously have got their accounts banned. It's why I can't do a Bronze 5 to Diamond series. I'd love to, but it's just not legal. There have been some YouTubers that have just ignored the rules and done that. And they've done troll things and climbed. Like, it's not that hard. And obviously, yes, that could be a smurf of a Diamond level. But if you are truly a Bronze player, just play what is good. Play what you can play and play what's viable. And you'll probably find your climb. Like, it's that simple. There's no trickery to it. There's no magic secret that us higher rating players are hiding from you guys. It doesn't exist. Just play what's good. Play what you're good at. That's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of why you're bronze and why you're not silver. So next episode will be gold. And what I think I'm going to do, even though I like this format and I kind of like being loosey-goosey, I think I will prepare a little bit more for next episode and actually have, like, specific topics. Because right now, I do have a read-through, obviously, before we record. But I think I want to make my points a little bit more crisp and clear. But I still enjoy doing these. But yeah, continue leaving your feedback on the QT down below. Again, remember to follow me on the QT as well. Because then you get updated and stuff like that. And if I respond to you, then you'll know if I respond. Because I am responding to some people, by the way. But that's going to be it. If you did like it, throw a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys next time.